So, alright, I might as well do a video about it. So, well, let's go ahead and get into it. So, my first author or historian is J.A. Rogers, who's one of my favorite. Joel Augustus Rogers. That's J-A-R-O-G-E-R-S. And J.A. Rogers is the author of many books, but his most notable books are The World's Greatest Men of Color, Volumes 1 and 2. And what I love about those books is, like I said, the world's greatest. So they're giving you information about African people who've made significant contributions, not just inside of Africa, but around the world. Asia, Europe, the Americas, India, all these different places. I said India like it's not in Asia, but you get what I'm saying. He gives information about African people throughout the diaspora. So J.A. Rogers is a great a great historian to start with. Remember, World's Greatest Men of Color, Volumes 1 and 2, and J.A. Rogers have many other books. My next is Dr. John Henrik Clarke, and that's John-Henrik-Clarke. And Dr. John Henrik Clarke is the author of several books, but one of his most notable is Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust. So that's a good book to read about Christopher Columbus, to learn the truth about Columbus, how much of a vile human being he was, and how the Holocaust disrupted Africa, the Caribbean, and the Americas. But Dr. Clarke holds no punches. He gives the information like it's supposed to be given. And he's a great resource. I'm talking over 40 years of real field research, traveling around the world, studying the history of the African diaspora and the greatness of our people, our history and our culture, our traditions. So J.A. Rogers is first. Dr. John Henrik Clarke is another one. Third, and this is not in any order of importance or what, I'm just naming them. So third is Dr. Yusef Ben Yakinen. And you spell that Y-U-S-E-F B-E-N-J-O-C-H-A-N-N-O-N. Once again, Y-O-U-S-E-F B-E-N-J-O-C-H-A-N-N-O-N. And he's authored one of his most notable books is Africa, Mother of Western Civilization. And of course, Dr. Ben Yakinen has other books, but he's wrote extensively about the African civilizations along the Nile Valley and the Nile Valley contributions to not just Africa but the rest of the world. So Dr. Yusef Ben Yakinen, once again, Y-U-S-E-F B-E-N-J-O-C-H-A-N-N-O-N, is another great historian that you can learn from. And like I said, I'm not giving you people who just like history. I'm giving you people who've dedicated their lives and their careers to studying our people, our history, and our culture. Ashra Kwesi is another one of my favorites. Ashra Kwesi right now is still taking people on trips to the Nile Valley, and giving tours to the Nile Valley. Matter of fact, I know this because I emailed his team and trying to get him on an interview on my podcast, and he's not available right now because he's going across to the Nile Valley and going on the tour. So A-S-H-R-A-K-W-E-S-I. Ashra Kwesi. It's all over YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in A-S-H-R-A-K-W-E-S-I. Ashra Kwesi gives us great information about our history, our culture. We created the religions. We created math, science, arithmetic. We built the pyramids. We gave civilization to humanity. We did all these things. Ashra Kwesi gives a lot of good information about that. My next is Ivan van Serkema. That's I-V-A-N-V-A-N-S-E-R-T-I-M-A. And Ivan van Serkema is he's the author of They Came Before Columbus. And They Came Before Columbus is an important book because it gives information about the Olmec who helped to expand their brand of Egyptian culture to the Americas. So there are over 30 big megalithic heads of African people who are the Olmecs that are found in Mexico. So the Olmecs are said to be one of the first groups of African people to reach the Americas. So Ivan Van Sertima gives a lot of information about the Old Mix. He also writes about the Moors and the antiquity and different things that the Moors have done for Europe. And it's just our diaspora is vast, and these people have gone above and beyond to give this information. So Ivan Van Sertima is another one. John Jackson. John Jackson is another historian you need to study. John Jackson, and he has a book titled Introduction to African Civilization. So you need to check out John Jackson, Introduction to African Civilization. The next person you should check out is George G.M. James. And George G.M. James wrote the book Stolen Legacy, talking about how the so-called Greek philosophers did not come up with this information, how they came into Egypt, studied many years with the priests, and then took the information back to Europe and Greece and made it as if it was their own, and the world praised them, the white world praised them as they dominated the rest of the world. So those people didn't come up with that. They're talking about Pythagoras and the Pythagorean theorem, right? But you need the Pythagorean theorem to build pyramids, but the damn pyramids existed before Pythagoras. So we can get an Imhotep. We're going to get deep into Imhotep a little later, but just giving you a little insight of what George M. James is going deep in when he in his book Stolen Legacy. Chancellor Williams, another one that you need to study. He has a book called The Destruction of Black Civilization, which is a great book to teach us about relations with our European people and how we should learn to trust ourselves and love ourselves and hang on and embrace and promote our history and culture, because doing the opposite has always led to our detriment and downfall. Another good brother to study is Anthony T. Browder, who has authored the book Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, Exploding the Myths. Dr. Browder is still out there knocking doors down, just doing it up, tearing it up, giving information. Check him out, Anthony Browder. He's all over YouTube. Most of these people I'm giving you are all over YouTube. Just type in their names. Also check out Renoko Rashidi. Renoko Rashidi is a world traveler, a world historian. Every time you look up, he's on some documentary talking about the different aspects of African culture around the world, exposing the African cultures in Japan, China, all over Asia, all over Europe, all over the South Pacific, the Melanesia. Learn about the people in the Solomon Islands, the African people in the Solomon Islands with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, and just the vastness of the African diaspora throughout the world. Our Indonesian brothers and sisters, our Aboriginal brothers and sisters from Tasmania and Australia. We're global. We're global. Also check out Wayne Chandler. Wayne Chandler is another global historian, and what's cool is Wayne Chandler and Renoko Rashidi were students of Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. And most of all the people who I'm naming, or if not all of them, work together. They work together in harmony and built the foundations and to help uplift and empower our people. Also, you have to read Cheikh Anta Diop. And Cheikh Anta Diop wrote several books, but one of his most notable book is The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, where he's breaking down the African origins of the civilizations, African origins of mythology and religion and all these things that the European and these other cultures claim hold of. These are our things that our ancestors brought to the table, brought to life, and created and brought to the world and civilized the world. And these historians have laid the foundation for me, a historian now, to be able to give information about our history, our culture, and our people, the greatness of our past. We are powerful people. Like I told you last week, we are not inferior to anybody.